Thank you for joining us today at the LDRS Creative YouTube tutorial channel, where we hope to inspire.
Hi and welcome to Hedgehog Hollow and welcome to my design team video with Little Darlings rubber stamps. Today I'm going to show you how to make an interactive wobble card using a pogo stick fox. So let's take a look at the card. We're going to be using some of the Build a Card dies here to create this lovely shaped card that has these nested shapes in here. And this is our little pogo fox. So you can see him going here. And he's really great fun. We're going to show you how to make an interactive card. We're going to show you how to colour her in Copics. And we're going to show you how to make this background scene as well. So lots of techniques to show you. I've got my cup of tea ready. So let's get started. So I've done a little bit of prep work here with our card bases. So I've created these different elements here. So this is our card base, which I've created using these dies here. These are called Fancy Squares and Little Things. So I've cut out of the smallest the white piece. The next size up there, I've cut the blue piece. And then I've used this piece here to create a custom sized card base. Now you could either cut this both ways, so I've made them so they met up. And when you cut one of them, you're going to want to make sure you layer this up. And I'm just going to turn it over and show you here. So I made sure that this cutting edge here was inside of my card. So let me lift that up so you can see what I mean. You can see here that that edge was just off of that cut line there. So you want to do that, and then I cut the bottom one as well. You could just shape your bottom or you could just shape your top. You could do it whichever way it suits you best. So that's how I created my card front. And this is a lovely die set, and it's also designed to cut easel cards rather, like this, and we'll be using that in future videos. The blue piece I cut out of the Polka Doodles Eleganza. It's going to work perfectly with our background once we create it there. And I'm actually going to just layer this up. So I've already popped some tape on the back so that we can just layer this straight on. And I brushed a little bit of Distress Oxide Salty Ocean using one of my barber's brushes. I just went round the edge and just flicked that on, and I think it gives it a really nice effect. If I lift this up, you can see here you've got this lovely blue edge on it as well. So that's our card piece. You can see here this is how our card is going to stand up. Now we're ready to create our centerpieces. So the first things we're going to want to do is I've already stamped out my little pogo stick fox from the Outdoor Play stamp set. I think he's really, really cute here. And I've already cut him out using a die. And the dies come in this set already. And they're really super easy to layer up. And I'm going to be using some Teflon mat here. And I'm going to use a little bit of temporary tape on the back just to stick him down while I'm colouring. I find that that just makes things much, much easier. Now I've grabbed a few colours of Copics. I'll talk to you about each one as I use them. I'm going to start first of all with our little fox. So let me grab all of my E's, which are my earth tones, my browns. And the first thing I'm going to do is I am going to start colouring in with the lowest shade. So this is an E21, and I'm going to colour everywhere that I want to be red. So I'm going to colour him in. I think this little, on his little bouncy hop will look really cute. And once we put that wobbler on there as well, he will really look like he is jumping up and down. Just colour his little paws in. And I'm going to leave that white piece there. And this is what I'm going to do in those browns. So I like to, if I've already die cut them out, I like to attach them to a piece of craft mat with that temporary tape as you saw me do, and that means I can turn it around nice and easily to work with it. So there we go. So I start with that lighter shade. Now I'm going to move into my E13, and anywhere that there is a V, I'm going to start adding in extra colour. So particularly in the ears, they're going to be a bit darker. The V of his nose is going to be a bit darker. And up here as well. And then we're going to take an even darker shade. I'm going to go in with my E23, which is hazelnut. And I'm going to go even darker still. Again, just picking up those V's every time, a little bit less and a little bit less. And that's how we're going to get that lovely texture to his fur. I did grab a couple of ready shades. I've got E07 and E08, mahogany and brown, and I just want to really add that little flick of red fox in there as well. And with those lighter shades, I'll blend that out in just a second, and I'll show you how I'm going to do that. So now I'm going to go back in with that E21, and I'm going to start blending out. And you can see how that's really softening those lines. I'm going to add a little bit more of that 07 along the top here. And I'm going to add some real flicks in here too, which I can soften out. Now, because I've saturated my cardstock in the alcohol inks, it's going to be really easy for me to start blending this out. And I actually stamped this out in the Lawn Fawn black ink that's designed to work with alcohol markers that you'll see me use later in the week on a Copic ink tutorial. And I'm going to be looking at different inks to use with alcohol markers, not just Copics. Then I'm now going to go into his body. So again, I'm going to start with the E13, and I'm going to start picking out those highlights. So remember your V's are where you want your heaviest colours to be. And do excuse my sniffles as well. We seem to have picked up a cold now Maddie's gone back to school. We all seem to have fresh as a flu in the house as well. And again, I'm just working through those colours into those areas that I want to have that extra tones. And I'm thinking about the pogo stick, that was the word I was trying to think of earlier. And of course these little paws. And then we're going to choose some of those ready tones. Now, if you didn't have all of these Copic colours, I would recommend for an animal you probably want 3 tones. And you could easily work with those and create some really lovely effects. Some of the Copic blending packs that are now available work really well, so I will link some of those up for you in the links below the video too. So now I've added all my colours, I can go back in and I can blend. Now if you ever find you add too much of a colour, then you can go in with the 0, which is the colourless blender, and you'll find it will help you really lift some of that colour off. But I add little bits and you'll find I go back a lot more. So I love his ready tones there, so I'm going to put those to the side. I'm going to grab a couple of greys. I took some neutral greys, so I've got N0, N1 and N3. And that's what I'm going to use in here where his little white bits of fur are, because they're not going to be pure white. And although I've got some bleeding in there, of course his fur would come over, so I'm not going to worry about the fact that I have that little bit of bleeding that have come across there. And we're going to add a little bit of shading with these, and I didn't want it to be anything particularly dark. And I'm almost adding like whiskers or blush. And I'm going to do the same with the N3 as well. And this is the lovely thing about alcohol markers, is we can keep going back, we can blend and blend until we are happy with that finished product. Now before I go too much further, I'm going to grab my blue tones. So I've got B12, B16 and B18, and I'm going to do his pogo stick in those colours. So I'm going to start with my lightest shade. Then I'm going to work up to the B16, and I'm going to make this bit in the middle here quite dark. I don't think I'm going to use that darker tone, I'm just going to go back and blend with the lighter shade. And because it's quite a narrow piece, I don't want to use too much colour. So that's my Foxy there. So I just cleared away some of those pens and I wanted to grab a couple of extra colours. I've grabbed the R17. Now any bright red would do fine, and I wanted to colour in that little tongue, little cheeky fox there. And then I also wanted to colour in a little bit of blush here too. Just a little bit of tone. And this is actually, colour is actually called blush, R20. So I wanted him or her to look like they were doing that. And then I also wanted to grab a little white pen and just add some little whiskers in there too. Just some little flicks, just for that cheeky look on there. And I think that is so, so cute. Let me lift it up for you so you can see. There we are. So that's our finished Foxy. Now we're going to build our scene on this back piece here. And you'll see I've got my wobbler ready to go as well. So I pre-cut, and I have lots of these pre-cuts. Some clouds and things, and then also my hillside. So I'm going to start with my hills, and I also always use the reverse. So I'm going to start at the top here, and we're going to start round about here, and I've got my Mowed lawn distress ink, and you could use distress oxides. You can pretty much use any dye ink, and I use barber's brushes because I like the effect they give me. Let me grab that again, and I'm going to grab it with my hand this time so it doesn't move, and I'm going to add a light dusting before we start adding more texture. So this is going to be our horizon line there. Now I'm going to move it more this way. And you'll see I'm just dotting off a little bit of that ink on the mat before we move anywhere. And now I'm going to do a little bit this way too. And when I lift that off, we have these lovely almost hillsides that he's going to be jumping through on his pogo stick. Now we can look at doing our blues, and because it's such a small area, it's super quick and easy to do. So first of all, I'm going to start here. So I'm going to put one piece there. I'm going to put my resist piece here. And I'm also going to use a little bit of masking tape just to hold that down. And I've got a tiny little bit of green that's exposed there because that's where I want the blues to blend in together. So again, I've got a blue barber's brush and a salty ocean. I'm going to link up in the top right, so you'll see now there's a little option to look at my blending video. So I compared the barber's brushes with clarity brushes and also with the Ranger brushes as well, if you've ever been curious about those. I linked those up on there too. I don't find I get the best effect. That's more because of a lack of patience and everything else on my part, but I just prefer the look of the barber's brushes, and I can afford lots of them compared to the clarity brushes. So you can see that I've already got the two tones of blue, and now I'm going to work between them. I'm going to pick up a little bit. This is Salty Ocean, and you could pick up more than one shade of blue, but I just wanted to show you how you can do it. So that when I lift this up here, we have the lovely, we've got our blue clouds, and then we have our nice green dales below. And I can just wipe this mat clean when I'm done, so I'm going to pop that to the side. And now we're ready to put our fox on his pogo stick, which I think is just super cute. So this is one of the action wobblers. You may have seen these before. You have a solid side and you have an open side. Now the open side is going to go on our fox. So I'm going to put that on first of all because I find that's the easiest way to do it. So I'm going to pop this fairly central to our fox and press that down. And then I'm going to take the other one. They've all got sticky pieces, so you don't need to add any of your own adhesive. And now we're ready to place him on. And I'm going to place him so that roughly waist height when I press it down like this, so you can see sort of the line of the pogo stick follows the line of the horizon. And I think that's awesome. I mean, look, he's actually jumping with his pogo stick like this. Now finally, we're ready to put our sentiment on, and I'm going to use this Reach High, and I'm going to place it right down the bottom here on our black, and I'm going to do that with black embossing powder. So I'm just grabbing my tools out my drawer here, and I'm going to be using the Ranger Superfine Black Embossing Powder, and I'm going to first of all pop my powder tool down, and I'm going to stamp out on Versamark. And now I'm going to pop my powder on. I'm just giving it a good flick from the back. And these trays are so great for things like this, whether you're using sequins, whether you're using embossing powder, glitter. I use it for absolutely everything. And then when I'm done, you'll see there's a little bit of black in there. I just go over the bin and I just go around it with my powder tool, and that means that it's nice and clean for my black, for my next colour. So you can see there it comes out really easily. Now I am going to just heat this with my Wagner heat tool. I like to preheat. I find I get less curling with my paper if I preheat my gun. So there we have our lovely little reach high sentiment down there. And let's just make sure we put this on our card the right way, so that's the top of our card. And again, I'm going to use my Tonic Funky Tape Runner, which I use for everything. If you watch my videos regularly, you'll see that. And I'm just following the rough outline of the card. Like so. So it's a really quick and easy card. I did a little prep before, but that was purely the die cutting and just stamping out. So that would only take me an extra couple of minutes. And you can see there, I mean, such fun, whether it's for an adult or a child. I know I would love to receive that card of my fox really jumping up and down. So I kept looking at this card and I decided that it really did need something a little bit extra to make it pop. So I grabbed 3 shades of green, and we're going to be using that flick technique to add some little grass around his feet. So I just lifted the wobbler up there, and I'm starting with the G24, the lightest sort of shade. And I'm starting to create the area that I want to put that grass into. I'm then going to layer it out with 3 different shades, and I'll show you in a second again how I did it. I did this in another video the other day, and I think it's really effective. These script nibs, they have some really great things you can do with them. We'll definitely be doing some skill builders on those as well. And I like mine quite symmetrical. I like to go for a bit of an oval. I think that gives the best effect. And that's what I'll be doing here. So this is the YG23, so this is new leaf, so I'm going in and adding in some highlights. So we've got a mid-tone, we've got a highlight tone, and then we're going to add in some shadows with that darker shade there, that YG17. So I'm going to add some darker ones and then go back in and blend. So again, with Copics, you just want to keep building up those colours until you have the area that you feel like. But I think he really now looks like, or she really now looks like, she is pogo sticking through those hills and through the particular area we've taken the snapshot where she's in this little grassy patch. So I hope you've enjoyed this tutorial. Here I just grabbed a scrap piece of paper and I'm showing you how to do those flicks. So it's down and flick, and just sort of the quicker you do them, the shorter they are, and it just depends how long you sort of put the nib down. So it is really a practice thing, but I think once you get it, it's really worth it. So here are some pictures that we took of the card. All of them will be available between the LDRS blog and the Hedgehog Hollow blog. All those links will be in the description below. And if you're on a mobile device, click the arrow in the bottom right and click the show me more if you're on a desktop. I love how this wobbles with that extra little wobble accent on there. I think she looks like a really cheeky little fox as well. Of course, you can tune in again very soon for some more inspiration with LDRS. You can also tune into the Hedgehog Hollow channel. The links will be on your screen right now to subscribe to both channels, plus also some other recommended videos, my previous ones, of bookmarks as part of the LDRS design team. Thank you so much for joining me today. I really do hope you've enjoyed this tutorial just as much as I have enjoyed making it, and I will see you again very soon. Happy stamping. Bye!